Around 6 months ago, I was sitting in a corporate office working 45 to 50 hours a week. I was barely able to save any money and I felt completely trapped. I had tried drop shipping, I had tried Amazon, I had tried making a piano course, so many things, and literally everything failed. I was practically broke, paycheck to paycheck for lack of a better term, and I was running out of time. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how I went from $0 to my first $10,000 month in May and then a $20,000 month in August. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Obviously, this was not easy. This was not a get rich quick thing. This was months of grinding on the side of my full-time job, posting every single day, even when I didn't feel like it. So if you are stuck in a 9 to 5 that you hate, you feel like there's more to life, I promise you this video is going to show you that it's possible. You just have to be willing to do what most people won't do. So let's get into it. This is how I went from literally making $0 in a corporate job to doing $20,000 a month off social media. And of course, we have to start with the epic fails. Let's talk about it. December of 2024 was the lowest point in my life. We're going to get to that, but we're going to go a little bit prior to that and talk about everything that led up to this point. I had spent practically my entire life trying to make it in the music industry. This is my band right here. We were together for 4 years. Prior to that, I built a following on social media for piano content and decided to go more the band route. And for 4 years, gave it an incredible effort, and it was great memories. But just trying to monetize this was hard. And the more I tried to monetize my passion, the less passionate I became about it. And so I decided, you know what, let me try and make a piano course. And so as you can see down here, I spent so much time setting up to do a piano YouTube channel, and I got about 6 videos in. I built a piano course. I spent around $1,200 for a website. Shout out to my mom for loaning me the money to get this website at the time, and just anything I could because I just could not work a corporate job anymore. Honestly, just couldn't handle not having my time to myself. And so I said, I'm going to do anything it takes to get out. So I started doing a YouTube channel and I built a piano course out, and turns out I learned that not too many people were crazy about learning how to play piano and nor wanting to spend $500 for a piano course, even though it was really good. I got about 3 sales on it and I was like, this is going nowhere. This is going to take forever to get myself out of a job. And I literally felt suffocated by my corporate job. So I went down the road path of what other businesses there were to make money. I stumbled upon Amazon, FBA, and KDP, where I started making crossword puzzles for grown adults. This is it right here. I actually made a Facebook post that was basically asking people to buy my crossword puzzles, and it felt humiliating at the time. So I was like, oh my God, I'm making crossword puzzles for adults. I lost money here too. Another ton of effort down the drain. And I realized quickly that Amazon is hard because you have to have a ton of ad spend just to get your product listed so that people even see it. This one sale and review right here is actually me. I bought the book and ordered it and gave myself a positive review and got quite literally no sales. So I said, okay, on to the next thing. That is when I tried drop shipping. And this was my website that I built for drop shipping. And you can see it's actually a very good website. I don't know if it's going to let me play the video here, maybe not, but I spent a lot of money doing this too. And I quickly realized there's a lot more cut out for drop shipping than meets the eye. You have to build the website, you have to pick the product, you have to make the creatives, you have to learn how to do the ads. Not too bad of a website, right, for starting out, but you can see I put a ton of effort into just all of this stuff, and I failed and failed and failed and failed and failed. And this is what led me to here, the lowest point in my life. For 4 years, I gave it my best effort for the band. I tried all these other things. Everyone was watching me try and fail at things, and I just felt stuck and trapped. Here I was working a corporate job, literally doing the dumbest thing imaginable. I was just wasting my effort, wasting my time, and I just felt like there had to be more to life. And I felt suffocated sitting behind a computer screen, showing up to an office every single day out of the week, 45 to 50 hours a week, just sitting in a half cubicle, just looking and praying for an opportunity. That is when I heard about TikTok Shop in December 2024. This was right prior to where the TikTok ban was going to come in. And I was like, oh man, of course I find out about this right when it's about to get banned. And so I basically made a bet to myself where I was like, all right, if it does not get banned, I'm going all in. And of course they delayed the ban and now it's not going anywhere, which is great. But I said, all right, I'm all in. I heard about TikTok Shop. And if you don't know what that is, basically you make TikTok videos promoting products. And when people buy it, you get a commission. There's no inventory, there's no shipping, there's no customer service. It's just marketing. And I was like, okay, that's so much better than drop shipping. That's so much better than Amazon. Like, what's the catch? So I couldn't find anything. I saw all these people that are making all this money. So I said, all right, I'm all in. Let's do it. I dropped everything that I was doing. I gave all of my energy to this. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to fail this time. I'm done failing. I can't have another failed attempt. And this is going to be the thing that takes me out of my corporate job. And so I was so sure about it. I made a page from scratch from 0 followers called Fisher Effect. I literally had ChatGPT just come up with random usernames. And this is what I landed on. And it's actually cool now. I'm happy that I picked it. But it basically here, my bio said I'm trying to quit I saw it the 8 to 5 because that's what it was, the 8 to 5. And this is what I'm learning and doing along the way. Because I was just adamant. I was like, if I can do this, I can show people that it's possible to go from square zero, where I was at right here, to out of your job. And if I could do this and I could pull this off, I could give someone hope and optimism and just prove that this is possible. So off we went. I had an old band account that was inactive on TikTok Shop because you need 5,000 followers in order to get started. So I asked my band members permission if I could use that account. They all said yes. I was like, okay. It had 17,000 followers on it, had not been used in about a year. So I said, let's give it a crack. So I started making 3 to 5 videos every single day. And here is where we get to the January to March section of the year. As you can see, at my first month, January 1st to 31st, I had a whopping $0 made, 42 product views, and 3 product clicks. And this is posting literally every single day, 3 times a day. And I figured, you know what? That's okay, right? That's okay because I know this is a learning curve. I'm going to make this happen. I stuck with it. Keep in mind, again, 3 posts a day, every single day is a fair amount of work. And so I was giving it fair effort, and I was also putting myself out there. And so, yeah, all my friends are going to see it, my coworkers. And I was like, I'm not going to fail at this because I'm sick of people seeing me fail. And so here we go. Into February, I made a whopping $33, right? So we made some progress, but still, for all the effort that I was putting in, it still is a little discouraging seeing only $33 for, probably 50 or 60 videos that I put up. And I just didn't know what I was doing wrong, but I knew, if I kept going, there had to be a way. Fast forward to March, we did $82. And so here we are over the course of 3 months and 90 days. This is what I had to show for it. I had a whopping $120 and 90 videos out promoting products and literally no sign of life. And this is when I had that point where I was like, do I pivot again? Do I try something else? Or what do I do? And I was sick of pivoting. I was sick of failing. And again, like I said, I was adamant about making this work. And so this is when I had to start taking bets on myself. Now, real quick, before I keep going, if you're watching this and thinking, hey, I would love to do this, I just don't know where to start, I do have a few spots open for one-on-one coaching where I will personally work with you, but this is just for people who are serious about either quitting their 9-to-5 job or making extra income, getting up to their first 5-figure month with TikTok Shop. It's obviously not for everyone, but if you are ready to take uncomfortable action and put in the work, if that sounds like you, please check the description in the below or DM me on Instagram and I will send you the details. All right, let's get back into it. Now, I didn't have a lot of money at the time. March, obviously, I was pretty paycheck to paycheck. I have a 401k and I had maybe $3,000 in my account. And, every single month, right, my balance was just the same, right? But so I didn't really have a whole lot of money to invest in anything like this. But I said, I have to learn this. And this is when I took my first bet. This was my message when I started. I'm not going to say his name, but my first mentor, I said, I fully believe I can do this. I'm not willing to fail. I'm going to give this everything I have. I don't have many friends that have this mindset, and I just need to do this. I'm fully invested. Let's rock and roll. So I spent $3,000 on a mentorship here and got about 3 weeks in, and I had quite literally no support. I had no strategy. I was not seeing any wins, and I was giving this more effort than ever. And so 3 weeks in, I sent the message. I basically said, I have to move on. Like, I can't waste my time anymore. I said, I have to be fully honest with you. I respect your knowledge and your mindset. I think you're a good guy, but the mentorship hasn't matched what I wanted in terms of guidance. And this is my first experience. I said, with that said, I have to move a different direction. And so I parted ways with that mentor because, again, I was spinning my wheels still. And so what do you think I did? I invested in another mentor, and I did the thing that no one would have advised me to do. I pulled out of my 401k. I'm not telling you to do this, by the way. This was obviously a big risk and a big gamble, but I took money out of my savings and I invested in another mentor. His name was Cade, and great guy at the time. He hadn't really mentored many people. He had about 6 people in his program. And I said, I'm going to be your next success story. And I told him, and shout out Cade, man. I got in his program when it was still early, and I had good one-on-one support with him and taught me a lot. And here we go. We are off to the races. April, I had a big week. Obviously, the first month of working, there was a lot of learning and a lot of studying I did. I put in a tremendous amount of work. I had a notebook probably this big where I'm writing down notes and I'm studying videos, and I didn't go out on weekends. I'm staying in on weeknights. I'm doing live streams. I'm doing videos. I'm doing product research. I'm literally just full immersed in TikTok Shop. And I finally had a breakthrough week. I had $157, which topped what I had made over the course of 3 months. And I did it in a week. So my eyes started to light up. I'm like, holy macaroni, this might actually get real. So over the course of April, I had made my first $1,000 on TikTok Shop. And this was obviously a big win for me. Finally, a sign of life that I can get excited about. Now, obviously, this isn't money that I can go out and quit my job tomorrow with, but I was pretty adamant that I was going to quit my job by June. And so, March to June is a pretty tight window. That's literally just 2 months to make this happen. So after I had this month in April, I said, I'm going to go all in. I'm doubling down. Whatever I did this month, I'm going to go even freaking harder. So here we go. May. Let's check out some of these days. As you can see, I started having some massive days. Some videos just started going absolutely viral, and I really just started doubling down on what was working. And I figured out quickly that there is strategy to this. And I started having having days like this, or I was doing $700 days, $600 days, multiple $600 days. I only pulled a couple screenshots, but during this month of May, I probably averaged, I don't even know, $600 or $700 per day. I implemented a second account. And as you can see here, here's my numbers for May. I made $10,000. And if you were following my page, my Fisher Effect page on my personal brand, this one over here that I had started, as I said before, I was documenting all of this. So I was putting up these screenshots. I was showing people basically, hey, it's finally happening. And I told everybody when I had my first $100 day back in April, I said, if I can do $100 a day every single day over the course of the 30-day window, I will quit my job in June. And so my goal for May, and I pulled out a big whiteboard and I said, I'm going to make $3,000 this month. If I can make $3,000 this month, I'm gonna quit my job in June, because I just wanted out so bad. And yeah, is that the smartest thing to do? I don't know. At the time I was like, I'd have to bet on myself still. So this is what I did. I told the world what I wanted to do. I told the universe. I prayed a lot. I asked God. I was like, God, please, I need this so bad. And I made a whiteboard with a goal, $3,000 on the side income to quit job. And I documented every single day how much I made. As you can see, I implemented the second account here, and it just really started taking off. I mean, I had some big days, and when I went and totaled it all up at the end of the month, I had a $300 bonus added on. I made $10,700 in May when my goal was $3K. So back on the personal page, I made a video that said I'm going to quit my job. I walked in, I put in my notice, and of course they threw me one of those, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Social media, is that really what you want to do? And I said, yeah, I have to do it. If not now, then when? And it was obviously very scary. And when I'm looking at this, it's crazy to look back. I'm not a very look back person. I'm always just looking forward. But when I look back and see this, it's like, this account had 2,400 followers. I quit my job. I took, arguably, it felt like the biggest risk and gamble in my entire life. And yeah, it was the best decision I ever made. But this is the point that really flipped everything, because I had to have a belief in myself that I could do this. And I said this video, I was like, I'm confident I can do this. Is there a little bit of self-doubt? Is it scary? Yeah, but I know I have to do it. And I have to show the world that this is possible. So here we go, off the races. May to October. Actually, this is actually August. October, we actually did a $10,000 day, but that's a different story. August, I had my first $20,000 month. And basically it was just doubling down on what was working. So I continued to do TikTok shop. If you have been following my page, I had a little bit of a scare. I actually had 2 of my accounts got and for no good reason. I did end up getting them back and getting the money out, but my income got cut literally like the month I quit my job. So July, I went from making $10,000 to $15,000 a month down to 0. And so I literally went from 0 back up to $20,000 in the span of like a month, basically just trusting my knowledge. So when I had my shop accounts get taken away, what I did is I bought another account, and I just did the same thing that I did on my other 2 accounts and got right back up to $500 or $600 days. I continued to do TikTok shop. I actually have 2 clients that I took on to do coaching. I did as limited capacity at the time. I didn't tell anyone I was doing it. It was just helping people out that wanted to get helped out. And yeah, I started to do UGC contracts on the side that pay 30 videos. And the way I landed the UGC contracts was actually through my personal brand, because I actually, since continued documenting it, this is where it's at now, 52,000 followers, and a ton of opportunities have come my way through that, just documenting the journey. So I've had 2 UGC contracts this month that would pay $3,000 per 30 videos. And so I had UGC that did around 6K. I continued to document my personal brand, and I was able to land a couple brand posts as well with some companies, which was great. I didn't even really have to post all of them on my page, which was awesome. And then I got a couple, or I think just one off-platform Instagram affiliate deal, which was great. And so for August, the 2 UGC contracts, the bonuses, the sponsored posts, and the TikTok shop, plus the coaching, totaled me at around $22,000 in profit, strictly just doubling down on what was working, what I learned over the course of these months. And I've continued to maintain 5-figure months since that month of May. Even with that scare in July, I've just continued to grind and grind and grind, repeat what's working, grow my personal account, pick up more UGC contracts, more retainer deals, more bonuses, and just had great success with TikTok shop. And looking back on this, is crazy to see how we've went from 0 to 52,000 followers in the process, which I'm entirely grateful for. But if you take anything from this journey, you can see, this is not a easy path. I had failed a lot. There's no luck here, right? It was fail and fail and fail and fail and fail, and stick with the plan, stick with something and see it through. Don't pivot, don't give up. I mean, pivot when you have to, but I was so adamant, so dead set on this working that it was the only thing that I thought about. I was working for 3 to 6 months before I really saw any real money. And that's the one thing that a lot of people, in today's world, we're so caught up on instant dopamine, instant gratification, that it's hard to put your mind and work into something when it's going to take 3 to 4 months of work to really see, get a paycheck for it, right? It's not like work where you're showing up for an hour, right? And you get paid for an hour. Or it's like, well, you're going to be putting in hours a day and you're going to get paid out later down the road if you stick with it and you actually learn the skill set. Like I said, this was not about luck. Once I actually learned the skill of this and was was able to find patterns in my content and read the data, then it just became a lot easier. And now, TikTok Shop is not hard at all. I'm very confident in just being able to take a page from zero to $100 a day very, very quickly. In fact, getting up to a $10,000 a month from zero is entirely possible, and there's not a ton of luck actually involved. Another thing that I had to learn along the way was you cannot take advice from people you wouldn't trade lives with, because I promise you, when I was in this period right here from January to March, there wasn't a lot to show for my work except for a lot of videos out there. And there's a lot of people who, poked fun at what I was doing and said, hey, that might not be worth your time. Maybe that's not the smartest thing that you should be doing. And I just had to ignore them and trust my intuition, trust my gut, and trust that I was going to make this work, and not listen to anybody who, was in my way. It was one of those just get with me or get behind me mentalities. And so the amazing part is, through this process, I've been able to surround myself with people who are like-minded, which has made me feel entirely less crazy. When I joined communities and stuff, just seeing other people win motivated me and made me feel less crazy, because again, not a lot of people that I knew even knew what TikTok Shop was. This was pretty new when I started, and still is pretty new. So the people I've met throughout this journey, I'm entirely grateful for, and they're actually great friends. And so this is a good thing to learn too. Just joining communities, getting around like-minded people that are also driven, is very, very important if you are wanting to get to this point. And so probably one of the most important things too that I learned through this process is, if I didn't take these risks right here and bet on myself, no one was coming to save me. I had this future here in line that if I didn't make a change, I'd be sitting at this desk, and I'd still be here today. If I didn't take some bets, I didn't put the work in, I'd still be here. And that's like the biggest thing, is you do have to show up for yourself. You do have to say, you know what, if I want a different life for myself, it is up to me. I have to do this. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is easy. If you're watching, I just want to tell you that this is possible. I was certain I didn't want this future, and so I took a bet on myself, and I kept working, and I've proved that this is possible. This is a possibility for you, or for anybody that is watching, that you can go out there and change your life. And yeah, sorry, I sometimes just looking back at these numbers, it's just crazy to think about. But yeah, if there's one thing you can take from this, it is that you can do it. It is entirely possible. I promise that you can do it. Stick with something. If it's not TikTok Shop, then whatever it might be, stick with it and give it your all, give it your best effort. And please, whatever you do, document yourself doing it, because this has been one of the most life-changing things that I did, was actually document myself getting to this point. And I'm really grateful that I did this, and really happy I did this, and all the support that's come through it and all the people that I've met has been amazing. And I've had a ton of full circle moments. So that is my story. That is how I went from $0 to a $20,000 month in the span of 6 months. And if I can do it, I promise you that you can too. You just have to be willing to take uncomfortable action every single day and stay consistent, even if it sucks. Now, as I said before, if you are serious about doing this and you want help, please check the description below or DM me on Instagram. I only have a few spots open for one-on-one coaching, where I will personally help you make an income with TikTok Shop. It is not for everyone, but if you're ready to change your life, I would love to talk. And if you're not ready yet, that is totally fine. Please just start. Pick one thing today and take action and stay consistent. In a year from now, you will either wish you started today, or you're going to be very grateful that you did. If you got any value from this video, go ahead and please hit the like button, subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, drop a comment letting me know where you're at in your journey, because I read every single one. That is it. My name is Danny. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.